Good morning everyone, Philip from Blackpool Markets here. Hope you guys are doing well. It's a Monday morning for us here in New Zealand. So markets are sort of just opened an hour or so ago. So I just want to take you guys through some of the charts we were looking at on Friday or Thursday evening for you guys. So I just want to have a bit of a recap, show you guys what has happened since the market has opened. We've had a couple of gaps down. A lot of the patterns are still looking good. So as you remember, we were looking at the main pairs were sort of the Aussie, we were looking at the pound, and the Canadian dollar as well. So I'll just take you guys quickly through that, show you guys what we're looking at and what we are seeing, or what has happened since the market opened. So we'll start off again with our Aussie CAD. This is again the 4-hour chart. You guys can see the market has sort of just opened here with a little bit of a gap down. If we go to the 30-minute, you can see here move to the downside. The pattern here we were looking at was that sort of a retest of a lower break. As you guys can remember, we had that gap down and then the nice break with a bearish candle. And also another one we can look at for, as you can see here, if we use our Fibonacci retracement, you can see it has come close to our 50% retracement as well. So it is still looking very good for potential move to the downside. Also, if we look on the daily bar chart as well, you can see we have a big downtrend. We had sort of a channel as well that has broken through. You can see we had sort of a false breakout. So coming back into the channel. So if it does go to the top side, look for a potential move to the section of the trend of the channel, or the trend line of the channel. If it does break to the top side, if it continues further down, look for a move inside of this channel, or even offering us here on for a double bottom as well. So this right here could be a key area where these lines do meet up. I'll just get rid of that. And so you can see here that is a potential area for us. It's around about the 0.909 level. And then if we look on the weekly, you can see we have also come back. You can see that was a low we've had back in August 2015. So you can see it has sort of retraced back into it. It looks very similar to the previous pattern we've had, a big bearish candle and then a move up to with a bullish candle. So you can see we have a similar move again with our big bearish candle and a big bullish candle forming again. So we could still potentially see a move to the upside as we've had there. As you know, history does tend to repeat itself as well. So you can see we had the previous similar pattern. Go back to there quickly. You can see we've had a similar pattern as well. So sort of the big bearish candle again, our bullish candle, to continue that to start another move to the upside and continue in the long run for this chart to move sort of in a sideways consolidation. And then moving on to our, let's just get us back to our chart, and you can see again, so moving on to our pound Canadian dollar. There we go. So you can see the pound we were looking at, we had that sort of a break of that multiple top. If you can remember, we were also looking at potential Elliott wave moves that could show that this is a false breakout as well. So we've had our waves 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you can see it has actually started to retrace, also making this very big gap to the downside when the market did open an hour or so ago. And you can see here there was a big gap. So again, looking for a potential retest of this trend line. So if you look here on the daily bar chart, you can see we've had this sort of a downwards trend line, and you can see it has retested on that. So this could be a potential area to look to go long. Also, if we use our Fibonacci, we can see if it has potentially retraced as well. You can see it has actually go straight on the 38.2 level as well. So you can see that is a very nice potential entry for the long side. If it does break that trend line, we can see potential move further to the downside. You can see we do sort of have a downwards trend with a bit of a correction, and I believe this correction could potentially also as well be on our Fibonacci. You can see here on the 50% retracement as well. So do look for that. So that is a bit of a multiple analysis, and we can also see here on the daily time frame. Sorry, we can see if we have had a potential Fibonacci bounce as well, coming close to the 61.8% retracement on the daily bar chart. And then moving on to the pound Japanese yen. So you can see we were looking at a sort of a triangle, also potentially offering a multiple top. You can see we've had that break sort of end of last week on Friday, and then also on today, breaking past a potential multiple double bottom as well with a big gap down. We can also see that gap being filled as the market usually does, and you can see we do sort of have a uptrend as well. Let me just back here, so you can see we have got this uptrend. On the bigger time frames, it is sort of moving in a sideways correction. You can see we had, again, similar to the pound Canadian dollar, we've got this downtrend, and also moving this with a possible correction that formed a wedge, and you can see it has sort of found a support area on previous areas, resistance, where previous times it has offered resistance as well. So we could see a potential move to the downside as well. Continue to move to the downside. You can see we've got potential areas where we could still form support. We also were talking about this being a potential head and shoulders setup as well. So you can see with our left shoulder coming down to the head, and then here the neckline, and then moving down to the right shoulder. So that is it. This is a daily bar chart again for the pound Japanese yen. Moving on to the pound Kiwi dollar. So here we were looking at was sort of a channel. We were looking at was a consolidation between two parallel lines. You can see here it has broken out end of last week on Friday, and then that channel did offer us a nice sort of retest area, a nice resistance area, and then again this morning opening up with a big gap. So we could see a potential move further to the downside, but keeping in mind in the long term we do have a uptrend as well. So you can see here on the 4-hourly and the daily there's a big uptrend. We can even potentially use our Fibonacci retracements. You can see it has gone past the 38.2, so we could look for potential moves to either the 50. If it does go further down, we can look for the 61.8 level as well. And also this area you can see can potentially is close to the previous top we've had, so that can offer a good area as well. So coming back down, retesting on the Fibonacci areas, and then also having this as a support area for a nice break and retest of that breakout of the previous high. So that would be a good setup if we can catch it, if it does come back to that level. If it does break past, we can look for also potential moves further downwards. And then finishing up with a Kiwi dollar, Canadian dollar. So that was the last pair we were looking at. We were kind of looking at a retest of this area. You can see it has completely opened up with a gap. This is again the hourly bar chart. So we had a potential move that we could look for this for support, and that you can see it has this morning has actually opened up with a big gap below that. So if the gap does get filled, we can continue to see a move further high, as this is in the long term a trend to the upside. But the more, and then also coming onto the daily, we can see that it has actually been a downtrend. So either way, we can look for potential moves. Not really any patterns at the moment. We can have a potential, since it's broken that support area, we can maybe have a potential area of support over here, and if it does go past that, we can look at this area further down here for potential support, maybe forming a sort of head and shoulders if it does come down to the support at a 1.3 around about that area as well. So you can see this offering a neckline, and that offering our left shoulder, so coming down to the neckline up to the right shoulder, and possibly finishing further to the downside. But at the moment, since that pattern has been invalidated, not really a lot going on for the pound US dollar. Okay, so we're on the wrong chart. So we'll have a look. So we were supposed to be on the Kiwi Canadian dollar, so there we go. So that's the next one. Okay, so this one is still similar to the Aussie CAD again. So you can see we have had that sort of retest on the area, but now that we looked at pound Kiwi dollar, we can see that it has actually the pound US dollar, you can actually see it has made some good patterns previously as well. But anyways, we'll move on to our Kiwi CAD. So you can see what we were looking at as well was that retest of the area, still looking very good. And as you can remember, we had a also again on the 50%, similar to the Aussie CAD, and also on the daily time frame. You can see we do have a big downtrend. So I'll take you back to the Aussie CAD, and you can see also on the daily these two patterns. I'll just get rid of all this. These two charts look quite similar. So you can see here there's a daily bar chart for the Aussie CAD, and then moving on to the Kiwi CAD, you can see they both look very similar, also quite similar on the 4-hourly chart as well. So these two do tend to run in tandem. As I mentioned in the previous video, if you were going to trade these two trades sort of in the same direction, just be wary that you are potentially risking double as much as you are, just because the charts tend to move in tandem. So just be wary when you do that, and also make sure you manage your risk well, as if you were going to take sort of trades on charts that do run in tandem. But continuing on with this, you can see on the hourly we have had a smaller gap down to the downside on the open, so we will see what happens with there. If we can have a possible retest, as gaps tend to get filled, even though it is a small gap, so we will see. But at the moment it's still looking good for potential moves to the downside, having that bounce, and also, like I mentioned, having our Fibonacci retracement. We can also then use a Fibonacci expansion. So this is usually with if you have a Fibonacci retracement, you can tend to use a Fibonacci expansion to sort of measure where a potential target area will be for the market's next move. So the moves we will usually be looking for is a 61.8%, 100%, and then a very, very important one for me as well is a 161.8 as well. So potentially the 132.8 can be a good level too, but it's usually the 61.8 and then obviously the multiples thereof. So that would be your 161.8, your 200 obviously being a round number, and then your 261.8 for sort of an extended wave. But yeah, that is it. So hopefully we can see further continuation to the downside. If it does move further down, we can also see potential moves, potential support area at that previous low, which is around about 0.83. So that could be a key level to look out for potential reversal in this long-term downtrend. But that is it for the video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. We had a look at an extra one, but that's alright, so you can have a bit of insight on that one as well. But like I said, hope you guys did like it. If you did, do give us that thumbs up, click the subscribe button, followed by the bell icon to get notifications of whenever we release new videos. If you guys want to get in contact with us, please do so. Our contact details will be provided down below in the description of the video, or if you want, you can go to blackbullmarkets.com, hop on live chat by clicking on the green button that says live chat, and we'll be there for you. Or if you prefer to contact us via email, please do so at support@blackbullmarkets.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Alright, well, thanks very much for watching, and from everyone here at Black Bull Markets, safe trading.